China embarks on a new journey of modernization. The National People's Congress, China's top legislature, and the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, the top political advisory body, convened their annual sessions in early March. Join us on CGTN for our special coverage of the two sessions. Find out the course China will take to ensure a sustainable future for its 1.4 billion people, and how China's decisions will impact global economic recovery. Agenda for 1.4 billion on CGTN.
Welcome everyone to Biz Talk. I'm Michael Wang. Well, China is currently going through a major event on its political calendar, the Two Sessions. Now, among other things, the Two Sessions outlines China's social and economic development priorities for the year and beyond. And given the scale of the Chinese economy, that would have implications for China's major trading partners as well. Now, today we'll take a closer look at China's economic relations with Malaysia and Italy. Joining us from Kuala Lumpur is Samuel Lee, CEO at the Malaysia-China Business Council. Samuel, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thanks, Michael.
And joining me here in the studio is Paolo Bazzoni, chairman of the China-Italy Chamber of Commerce. Paolo, welcome. And Paolo, I have to add, you are also a board member of the Associazione. Tell me if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Perfect.
This is, of course, the association that represents all of Italy's chambers of commerce abroad. And at Associazione, you're also a delegate representing Asia, Australia, and South Africa, if I'm not mistaken. Correct. And Paolo, you also have another title. You're also on the board of Bonfiglioli China,
yes,
which is, would you say, an industrial company?
Absolutely.
Here in China.
Leading industrial. World.
Leading industrial company. And you've worked and lived in China now for
15 years.
15 years. So, Paolo, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
A lot of good stuff to discuss. Samuel, I want to come to you first because China has been Malaysia's biggest trading partner for 14 years now. Give us your takeaways from the two sessions and what you've seen and heard in terms of the implications, perhaps, for China-Malaysia economic relations going forward.
All right, thanks, Michael, and good afternoon to everyone. I'm Samuel from Malaysia here. And yes, every one of us is looking forward to the outcome of the two sessions this year. Firstly, the Excellency Premier Li Keqiang spoke about the success of Belt and Road Initiative in promoting high-quality cooperation between China and the BRI countries. With a 13.4 annual growth rate in imports and export, the government is committed to achieving shared growth through market principles and international rules, while also carrying out connectivity and industrial capacity projects. This is a great move towards fostering closer economic ties with BRI countries and promoting mutually beneficial development. Besides that, China has announced its commitment to intensifying efforts to attract foreign investment and expanding the market access. This includes opening up the modern services sector, as well as ensuring the foreign firms receive the same treatment as the domestic companies. This is very important as a foreign investor to China. Therefore, China's planned development has a profound impact on the Southeast Asian region, especially to Malaysia. There will be surely a significant economic decisions and plans during the two sessions. So we are paying close attention to this aspect of development. Another thing that I would like to highlight is about the establishment of National Data Bureau, which this digital China's building up the digital China, the digital economy and digital society is something that for Malaysia need to closely monitor and to learn what's the opportunity that we have, as well as to get it contributed back to Malaysia digital economy's growth as well in future. I think this is basically my takeaway for the time being before we have a further understanding and learn about the other section of two sessions.
Samuel, you touched on a lot of areas that we're probably going to discuss a little bit more on later in the program. You mentioned Belt and Road, you mentioned bilateral investment. China and Malaysia, of course, have a bilateral investment treaty in place. Digital, I think we're going to touch upon that as well. I was very amazed to find that the trade volume between China and Malaysia last year already topped $200 billion US. First time in history, which is quite an accomplishment, I think, compared to 10 years ago when bilateral trade stood at the $50 billion US mark. So we're going to come back to you, Samuel, in just a moment to talk more about all the various points you just spoke about. Paolo, I want to come to you because there's also a bilateral investment treaty between China and Italy, and perhaps we can talk about that a little more in the program as well. But I just want to get your general sense in terms of what's your take on the Chinese market for Italian brands. Which industries do you find most attractive here in the Chinese market?
It's very wide question.
Yeah.
I can talk for hours, but let me try to summarize some key concepts. Of course, Chinese market is very, very important for Italian brands, okay, and for Italian export, but also for the companies that already are localized in China since more than 15 years. That the majority of our companies are in China since more than 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. In many different sectors that we cover all the value proposition of Italy. As you know, Italy means quality, means innovation, means technology in everything we do and we produce and we make. For sure, mechatronic, components, industrial components in automotive, but not necessarily also in the transition energy, fashion, lifestyle, food and beverage. So these are the healthcare, these are the main sector. China market is very important. Of course, the 2022 has been a difficult year for everybody, okay? But the China's economic activity rebounds in 2023 is promising. So Italian companies are ready. We demonstrated a lot of resilience and now are ready to rebound as well, following the major target that the government set. So now we are, let's say, walking on the same line and trying to catch all the opportunities around the continent, because China market is a continent. Mm-hmm. And one of the key points that maybe I can talk later is to segment this territory in all the regions about the consumer needs, about the competition, and about the advantages that Italian company can offer to the market.
Right. And like you mentioned, each area of China could be a mid-level economy by itself. When you take a look at the China market, it was interesting that you mentioned so many different industries that Italian brands are in. For example, when we think about Italian brands, maybe coffee comes up first, fashion comes up first. Last year when we were reporting at the China International Import Expo, I was speaking to a few Italian brands, and it really surprised me, actually, Italian industry, Italian engineering has, I would say, quite a significant presence here in China as well, would you say?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. What you mentioned, we definitely Italian lifestyle. Okay, Italian lifestyle is a concept of culture and business, okay, that we, offer to the world and in China too, that could be in industrial sectors, but mainly in lifestyle is a fashion, design, and accessories, and a way to live in a sustainable and qualitative way. Yeah. You mentioned coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee, I mean, Chinese, they like coffee a lot.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
And, but probably Chinese, they get used to drink coffee, but I'm sure they will get used to appreciate the qualitative coffee. So I think Italy means quality also in coffee. So it's.
Well, we have seen a few Italian coffee brands, one in particular I'm thinking springing up a lot here in the China market. You've got a lot of competition though, because there's a few more early entrants to China's coffee market. So you're betting on the quality, I guess.
Of course. I mean, we are in the high level of the, alto di gamma, the high level of quality in everything we do. So I think the consumer can appreciate that, and we are very close to the consumer's needs.
Okay. And I'm going to ask Samuel the same question, but what is the Italian Chamber doing right now to better engage the Chinese consumer?
Well, Italian Chamber of Commerce in China is an organization very well positioned in all the regions. Okay, we have 8 offices. Okay, headquartered in Beijing. Then we have Tianjin, we have Shanghai, we have Suzhou, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Chengdu, and Chongqing. That's why we want to be, located in all the regions to catch the opportunities for our companies, but to engage collaboration and dialogue with the counterparts, Chinese counterparts, because we witnesses that only stay close to the companies in the local regions where they operate and interact with the dialogue with the counterpart, the government or the partners, okay, you can better support our business. This is our strategy.
Got it. Okay. I mean, you have to understand the local region, the local regional
Absolutely,
markets as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you feel a little bit detached from the real needs.
Agreed. Samuel, same question to you. What exactly is the Malaysia-China Business Council doing to really promote Malaysian brands here in the China market?
All right. Well, Michael, for us, MCBC, we are actually is under the purview of the Prime Minister Departments of Malaysia. That we have need to work closely with the Ministry of Trade and Industry of Malaysia to promote. Firstly, is about the government-to-government policy. Then the others, we have one key unit that is responsible for Malaysia's goods and services promotions is under the Malaysia External Trade Development Corporation (MATRADE), which they have the trade commissions in our embassy as well as the consulate generals across the China that to facilitate and support the Malaysia's products exportations. And the comprehensive strategy partnership between Malaysia and China, since it was further consolidated in 2013, we have the 5 years program for economic and trade between China and Malaysia. Since then, we also involved to advocating and implementations of the single window policy that allowed goods from both countries to pass through custom more efficiently. We are pushing for that policy as well. And MCBC, for the time being, we are assisting we have our durians as well as our products of white coffee. Just now mentioned by Paolo about coffee. Malaysia one is about the instant coffee mostly. It's not the coffee beans that time. But all this we are through Expo as well as throughout all different provinces. We have established our connection with CCBID. To have the more business-to-business matching on this product promotion. Especially we involve in the policy to ease the importations, the exportation of our durian, fresh durian, bulk durian, whole fruits to China as well.
All right, so some coffee competition, I guess, between Malaysia and Italy here in China. Different consumer segments, but nonetheless competition. Samuel, you spoke about the comprehensive strategic partnership between Malaysia and China, and this year, 2023, is actually the 10-year anniversary of that comprehensive strategic partnership, and also the 10-year anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative as well. So when you take a look at the synergies in terms of development strategies between Malaysia and China, what do you see? What is the potential there? Because I think for Malaysia or ASEAN in general to really unleash its economic potential, you have to have that infrastructure connectivity.
Yeah, Michael, that's right. This year is the 10 years of comprehensive strategy between Malaysia and China, as well as next year we'll be celebrating 50 years of diplomatic ties between Malaysia and China. And the Malaysian participations in the BRI, it can bring several potential benefits to the countries, both countries as well. And by seeking the greater synergy between development strategies and strengthening connectivity with China, Malaysia can collaborate with China to attract more investment and participate in more projects related to infrastructure, logistics, as well as trade. And this can potentially boost Malaysia's economic growth and create more job opportunity, especially a post-pandemic era. And the BRI is also can enhance the connectivity between the participating countries through the construction of infrastructure projects such as railways, highways, as well as port. And Malaysia deeply benefits from this by improving the logistic network and reducing our transportation costs. This can make Malaysia more competitive in the global market and improve the attractiveness as an investment destination.
Yeah.
Besides that as well, so as far we knew, Malaysia and China, we have shared common culture of because of Malaysian Chinese we have here. Therefore, the BRI also it will promote more cultural exchange and people-to-people ties as well. In Malaysia, this can lead to a strengthened cultural ties with China, which can have a more positive impact on areas such as tourism, education, as well as other forms of collaboration. Sorry. And this is by fostering greater understanding and appreciation. Therefore, between the countries, we can build a better and stronger relations to promote mutual benefits.
Samuel, you mentioned railways and you mentioned really boosting Malaysia's competitiveness. Now, there is one, I would say, landmark BRI project between China and Malaysia. It's called the East Coast Rail Link. And I'm wondering if you can explain to our international audience a little bit more about how this rail link may potentially really boost business activity, investment, create more jobs in Malaysia. Because from what I understand, this is a rail link. It's totally electric. It's going to be an electric high-speed rail that connects the northeast of the country with the western part of the country. So the northeastern states to the west, and really cuts down travel times by half.
All right. Sorry. So, Michael, and it's our pleasure to explain it. To have a better understanding, let me give a brief on the East Coast Rail Link, ECIL, the project that we named. The ECIL is a 665 kilometers national infrastructure project collaboration between Malaysia Rail Link Sdn Bhd, MRL, with the China's Communications Construction Company, CCCC. Then this project is 75 billion ringgit Malaysia ringgit. Project is expected to contribute as much as about 1.5 to 2.7 GDP growth over the next 50 years. And broadly speaking, this project it will link east and west coast of Peninsular Malaysia, which is from the less developed Kota Baru in Kelantan to Port Klang in Selangor, two different states. And the ECIL is expected to improve more connectivity and accessibility for businesses and mobility. The east coast of Peninsula now we can create through this project to being a more efficient, more cheaper modes of transportation of goods from Kuantan Port, as well as the Twin Park, the Malaysia-China Kuantan Industrial Park, to Greater KL Klang Valley in Kuala Lumpur, Selangor, where most of our business activities are located.
Yeah.
The timeline, it will shorten from a normal drive, about 8 hours road drive, to be by train, it will takes about 4.5 hours. The distance, it will be cut about half of the mobility timing. Therefore, this project also, it will be such a large-scale project. The workforce that we need is very immense. The MRL, as well as the CCCC, has already agreed on the 40% local participant, the local workers. And this create construction job that estimated to be valued about 17.6 billion for local contractors, as well as 23,000 new jobs created during this project. So the companies also provide training programs for technical skill in various fields, from construction, machinery operations, electrical and surveying, as well as the train operations. So there is more and more others job that can provide to the locals. And therefore, this project, which estimated to complete in early 2027, businesses will flourish from various industries to support the passenger mobility, rail maintenance, local businesses such as food industry, retailing, services along the line for the coming years.
I mean, that should make Malaysia a more attractive investment destination as well. Samuel, I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm really looking forward to perhaps one day down the road, a scenic high-speed train ride from Beijing all the way to Malaysia and then to Singapore, because we have, of course, the China-Laos high-speed rail line, the China-Thailand high-speed rail line, and we can connect Malaysia as well. I think that is going to be quite a scenic route for tourism. So hopefully one day I can see that, or at least start from maybe southern China's Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region and then take a beautiful high-speed train ride over to Malaysia. So we'll see if that can happen.
Yeah, we are looking forward as well.
Yeah. Paolo, let me come back to you and ask you about the long-term potential of the China market, because China has set about a few goals, talked about a few goals when it comes to the long-term development of its consumer market.
Yeah, sure.
One of those goals is to enlarge its middle-income group to over 800 million people, from what is already the world's largest middle-income group of over 400 million. The country wants to become a mid-level developed economy by 2035 and to boost per capita GDP to around $20,000 by that year as well. Right now, just over 12,000 USD. Do you think Italian companies perhaps are aware of the long-term opportunities for the China market, especially the scale, when you have such a large consumer market and then you pack in, for example, R&D, innovation, growing prosperity, rising incomes? Do you get the sense that Italian brands understand the long-term potential?
Well, Italian companies understand, because Italian brands are companies behind the brand. Okay. You know that in business, everything starts from a strategy.
Yeah.
First, understanding the market, and then understanding the customer needs. Okay, and then try to assess to this market in the best way. For sure, the size of Chinese market is important. Okay, and this middle long-term target set. In a sense, gives us a sense of, medium-term sustainability that creates confidence in the companies. Said that, I think that we need to continue to, let's say, see some economic sustain measures, okay, for some strategic sectors. Okay, I just mentioned one that is a transition energy sector. Okay, renewable energy and these things. Yeah, is very important. China and Italy too are in the world very focused on these, targets. But we need to have continue to have some internal measure in order to boost these sectors. The infrastructure is very important as well. Okay, as you mentioned. Okay, not only in Malaysia, but I'm talking in domestic China infrastructure. And if this measure continue to support and, let's say, ensure the development of the economic Chinese, of the growth of the economic Chinese demand, for sure this will ensure a more commitment from the companies, from the Italian companies that are already in China, but even other companies can come, okay, attracted from these opportunities. So the rebound that we saw starting from January, okay, is encouraging. Okay, we want to have a continuous rebound. Okay, we are ready because we are here. Okay, we are not worried about the competition. We want to work hard like we do. Okay, in order to serve the needs of the country. Okay, in some areas where we are, let's say, we have maybe a competitive advantage versus other competitors. Okay, of course the competition inside the domestic market from Chinese companies is pretty tough. It's pretty tough. But is part of the game.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not a problem. As long as the rules are fair,
Okay.
we are confident.
So maybe expand for us a little bit more as to what you see are the prominent competitive advantages for Italian companies. You said quality is one. Maybe
Yes.
expand on that a little
Yeah,
bit
of
more for
course,
us.
Of course, okay. Let's start to see that the DNA of the Italian industry is basically from medium, small enterprises that gradually grew up and became leading worldwide company in a different scale of sizes, but in each sector they are very leading for technology, leading for innovation, leading for creativity, leading for flexibility. And of course, you can talk about some industrial companies. You can talk in automotive. You can talk in transition energy. Of course, in lifestyle and fashion as well.
Yeah.
But each company has its own strategy and its own technology. And in order to maintain the competitive advantage, you have to invest. You have to invest in innovation, in R&D. Okay, and Italy is very solid in this area. It's very solid. We have areas where we have a competitive advantage. Of course, when you require and you set some quality target, it means that you are above the average of the low quality, okay? But this is something that the consumer are expecting, also in China,
Yeah.
because more and more Chinese are appreciating this, not only in fashion and lifestyle, but also in industrial.
Absolutely.
Our companies, we have some areas of China in the east, in the Yangtze River Delta, in Suzhou, for instance, we have a concentration of Italian companies, more than 150, okay, that are excellence. Some are medium, okay, but they sell products that are very fit for purpose.
I see.
And then we have, of course, the big companies. We have companies that build a production line for all the automotive car manufacturers.
Yeah.
Are Italian, the production lines.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So flexibility is another important concept. Mass production, but you have to be flexible in order to catch the needs of the customer. Okay. Also fit, tailor-made. This is Italian, are very good in this.
Yeah.
In industry, in fashion, in lifestyle, in food and beverage.
Now you talk about the transition energy
Yes.
quite a bit. So in terms of China's green development path,
Yeah.
because this is a core component now in China's new development philosophy, carbon neutrality by the year 2060, that's China's goal. Right now, clean energy as a percent of total energy consumption, about 25%. The goal is to get to 80% by 2060. So for China's green development, it's not sort of optional. It is a must-have, I feel, in my opinion. And given, again, the scale of the Chinese economy, and China is already sort of a leader in many green technologies, what kind of opportunities do you see for Italian companies as China makes this massive green transition?
Well, Italy is in Europe the leading country for renewable energy. Okay, not only in utilization of the green economy, let's say infrastructure, but also in terms of soil remediation, all these kind of things. Of course, China is a bigger market, okay, but the expertise that we have can be easily shared and offered to the Chinese market, okay, in a different way, in business B2C, in collaborations, okay. So I think in the transition energy we have a common view, okay, and I hope and expect Chinese players can better utilize Italian expertise in this field. We are ready to also to support this matching, okay,
Yeah.
anytime with information with moments of dialogue, events, okay, around all the country. Hydrogen, for instance.
Yeah.
Hydrogen is one of the future, way. Okay, we have some companies that are best in class. Okay, so it's a matter to dialogue and find a business opportunity in a very concrete way.
Yeah. So a lot of potential there for China and Italy to
Yes.
cooperate when it comes to the green transition.
Yes.
Samuel, I want to get your take on this as well, because ASEAN overall, Malaysia as well, on the front lines, I would say, of fighting climate change. How do you see sort of China playing a role in supporting ASEAN and Malaysia when it comes to green technologies and green development? What are the areas of cooperation there?
Yeah, Michael, definitely the green initiative will provide several opportunity and advantages to the benefits of mankind. And for Malaysia here, firstly, it will be economic benefits for sure. The shift to the electric cars could create new jobs in the automotive industry, such as for manufacturing, maintenance, the charging infrastructure, as well as additionally, it could reduce our fuel costs for individuals and businesses, leading to a saving that can be reinvested in the economy. Malaysia also can benefit from the terms of increased innovations. As the world moves towards to electric cars, Malaysia can seize the opportunity to innovate in the technology, charging infrastructure, battery storage. So by doing so, that it can attract new businesses and investment, positioning ourselves as a leader in the region for this field, as well as to boosting economic growth while contributing to the global efforts to reduce the carbon emissions. Reducing carbon emissions is the next step, that which the electric cars can run on electric store battery and do not produce any direct emissions. And this can reduce the amount of the greenhouse gases, as well as the other pollutions emitted by traditional gasoline and diesel cars, contributing to the effects of mitigate climate change, and it can improve our air quality as well. Malaysia is very actively to promote the use of electric cars, and because this is one of the part that we have one agency that called Malaysia's Green Technology Council, MGTC, that take in charge to promote the increased usage of the electric green energy, especially the EV car, as well as in Malaysia, our country's Petronas, the petrol oil and gas company, national oil company, also established a subsidiary fully on developing and market and promote the green initiative that called Jentari. Last year, they set up this company. This is shown that Malaysia is very committed to promote the EV industry in Malaysia, especially the green energy in Malaysia. Yeah, and another thing is about Malaysia, we can increase our energy security as well. Because Malaysia, we import significant portion of oil as well, even though we are exporting, but we also importing, which this is put our country energy security in a risk as well. Therefore, the electric car also can help us to reduce our dependence on the foreign oil, as well as increase our energy security by relying more about domestically produced electricity.
Yeah. So if that's the case, I feel there's going to be a need for a lot more investment into Malaysia then, especially when it comes to the green development industries. I just want to step back a little bit more, Samuel, and get your overall take in terms of how Malaysia and China can really strengthen this bilateral investment relationship. So as of the end of 2022, Chinese companies invested nearly $17 billion in Malaysia, and Malaysian companies invested around $12 billion in the Chinese economy. So quite robust already in terms of this bilateral investment deals for the two sides. How else can the two countries strengthen that relationship, you think?
Yeah, to us that we are very happy that we have the most contributed foreign direct investment is from China. Because Malaysia, we have established our financial and banking sectors a more pro-business policy in infrastructure, and we have the government to support the facilities. And for some informations of the data, while is Malaysia ranked globally 25th in the World Competitiveness Yearbook of 2021, which is in increase from the rank of 27 in 2020 year before. And as you mentioned, in 2022, China contributed 49.2 billion ringgit Malaysia FDI to Malaysia in approved investment. And this, the highlight things it will be China overtook USA in the second FDI country by almost 3 times the amount. That was 16.9 billion ringgit, Malaysia ringgit, versus 49.2 billion ringgit. And the FDI from China in 2021, it was 25.91 billion. It's an increase of a fold. And from these trends, we can see that the major economies of China, US, or Europe, they are more mainly, for the US and Europe, they are more mainly concentrating in ICT sector. But with the China's high technologies industry about into automation, digitalizations, we have the more collaborations on this aspect to have a highly complementary for both of our countries. While Malaysia is still mainly a trading and manufacturing hub in Asia Pacific region for the time being, we have the highly skilled workforce. Relatively, we have a lower cost of doing business. We have our strategic geographic locations, as well as our world-class infrastructure, industry park, free trade zone, etc. As it makes us as a more favorable investment from China, especially to Malaysia. And we look forward to enhance further, especially in the green technology industry, as well as the digital economy industry between Malaysia and China.
Yeah. Well, Samuel, you also touched upon there the competition for talent, because if you want to win in the economy in any era, right, this war, this race, this competition for talent is on. What is sort of the education cooperation relationship between China and Malaysia? I know there are quite a few Malaysian students who are studying here in China, but where do you see that relationship going on the education front?
Yeah, firstly, Michael, Malaysia and China, we have established the student exchange. That is for short term, for long time already. We have all kinds of summer camp also, but in a proper high quality education wise, we have estimated about 33,000 Chinese students studying in Malaysia at the moment, in all fields, from first degree to postgraduate, as well as they have about 15,000, if I'm not mistaken, the numbers of Malaysian students studying in China. That makes what we said earlier. But the high quality of education is the backbone of both countries' economy. Investment in this education is the investment in the future of Malaysia. And I believe that highly trained and the well-educated core workers, our workforce, will be a stimulus for the country progress further and transition into a high-value economy. It is crucial that we foster the talent, especially in the industry and sectors that will provide greater prospect for both countries, as well as in turn it will create a new economic spillover effects to provide better job marketability for the peoples and attract more collaborations.
Yeah.
Then this is evident. This is evidence that we believe actually the Chinese researcher that we have need to enhance more collaboration between the two country researchers so that we can have more mutual understanding and to co-develop something new for the nations. Yeah. And therefore, MCBC, we have playing the roles of promoting the education collaboration between Malaysia and China since a few years back. And so we would like to take advantages of our respective respective expertise to build a more complementary relations in creating a better platform and opportunities for those who seek skill and career prospect.
Yeah.
This is something that we have, but at the same time, especially when China is emphasizing on TVET, the technical and vocational educations, the parts. Malaysia also, we have putting forward our focus in the recent new government that has established the TVET Council to coordinate and to catch up with the latest technology, latest skill about the vocational education. And therefore, this would be something that can be a greater collaboration between Malaysia and China to complement each other, especially when we have more infrastructure projects, we have more technology from China's side. Therefore, we have to admit that we need to have some education, especially on this line, directly with the collaboration from China so that we can have our better continuity.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, Paolo, when it comes to mutual understanding, Samuel mentioned that we just need more mutual understanding, I feel, especially in today's world. When you take a look at people-to-people exchanges, I guess, between Italy and China, what are you seeing? I know a few of my colleagues and friends have studied in Italy. Should more Italian students perhaps come study here in China and understand the China market a little bit better?
Well, this has been a trend that before the pandemic period always was very florid and active. So if we take an exception this 2 years and a half, now the situation is rebounding, okay? I don't see any obstacles to have a more interchange of students. I mean, Chinese going to Italy can find any kind of offer in all the sectors, in technical, engineering, in economical, and in lifestyle, okay? And of course, lots of Italian are coming to China to, specialize maybe some know-how, okay? Not only in the language, because language is important, but I'm talking about in culture and some specific areas of business.
Yeah.
An important way to facilitate this interchange is also how the companies, the business, can attract internship or, experiences.
Good point.
Okay.
Yeah.
In this case, Italian Chamber of Commerce is very active. Okay. We organize career day with also Chinese university, Italian universities during the year. Okay, attracting companies and exchanging opportunities, okay, in all the market, not only Shanghai or Beijing, because China is, as we said before, is very differentiated.
Yeah.
But I'm positive about the future is this. Only through a real understanding of what is the country, the market, the mentality, and the culture can be also the business can improve.
Yeah.
Okay. And last but not least, the way to manage a company in China, okay? So all our companies are empower Chinese management, okay? This is not, Chinese managers are operating in the Chinese companies, okay? Of course, with few Italians point of coordinations, but we embrace this way.
Yeah.
Because it's the only way to really boost the business.
Yeah. And of course, one way I think to boost cultural and business understanding between the two countries, the Chamber has an initiative called Italy Meets China.
Yes.
Tell our audience more about that. What is this initiative about?
Well, starting from the strategy, as we said, that each area, region, province has its own peculiarities and priorities. Okay, we launched an initiative that is called Italy Meets China, and is a platform of dialogue that basically put together from a business and from also a let's say cultural and opportunities of future developments, Italy with a specific area. Okay, we organize Italy meets China so far in 5 different areas in Yunnan. But mainly, we want to go in the areas less known. Okay, but with a lot of opportunities. We did Italy meets China in Yunnan focus, Suzhou focus, Sichuan focus, Tianjin focus, and Hunan focus. But we will do in Shenzhen, GBA, and so far, so forth.
Yeah.
We had a lot of attention
Yeah.
from the local governments, CCPIT, where we normally interact, but
Yeah.
also with some Italian company witnesses their own experience, Chinese companies witness what they want, what they need, matchmaking, and because the Italian Chamber of Commerce is the link between business, Italian business in China and in Italy too,
Right.
and our brothers Confindustria or the region in Italy are
Yeah.
linked with us, okay?
Yeah.
They are connected, so they can listen, and then we can organize missions and,
Okay.
step by step is a way to boost the business and, opportunities.
Visibility, I guess.
Visibility as
Yeah.
well, and tourism,
Tourism, yeah.
and tourism as well.
Interesting you mentioned Yunnan province because for our audience abroad who may not know where this is in southwest China. It's quite a mountainous area, beautiful.
I will be there tomorrow.
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 Lucky you. Lucky
Kunming.
Kunming. Okay, it's a beautiful city. And you put an image in my mind, Paolo, of experiencing maybe a little bit of Italy in Yunnan province. That would be maybe magical, I would say. It's quite an interesting combination.
Well, Yunnan has some, of course, nature, but there are some areas very interested in agriculture. And when we talk about agriculture,
Yeah.
we have to think about how to process, how to industrialize the
Yeah.
agriculture.
Yeah.
That's why we go there also to, explore opportunities for our companies and collaborate and support this kind of things. On top of that, we have food and beverage, we have the coffee,
Yeah.
and we have tourism. So we will be there in a mission between Chamber and the Consulate of Southwest. Okay, we will go there. We'll meet our companies. We'll meet the counterparts.
Yeah.
This is the way to improve business opportunity, dialogue and exchange views. Otherwise,
Yeah, absolutely. Samuel, I'm going to come to you in just a second about agriculture cooperation between China and Malaysia, but I want to stick with Paolo a little bit more on this front because Italy has some great agricultural products. I don't think I'm being biased here. I've experienced some myself, We can attest to the quality of Italian agriculture products, and China has this initiative called rural revitalization because you've got this vast countryside that still has around 500 million people here in China that live in the countryside, and increasingly Chinese consumers want to eat high-quality, fresh agricultural products. What do you see on this front for Italian businesses?
Yes, in order to increase the consumers' expectation and raise the level of expectation from the consumer, you have to inform, first of all, and to educate sometimes, no? Because, this is normal. In Italy in the 50s, we were in a development moment. We did the same things. No? So it's history tells that this is the way. We believe that we can really, let's say, facilitate this better expectation from the consumer in order to a more focalize information, education, not in the school, but in business education, and opportunity to match the expectation of the companies. Okay, but in order to catch the needs, you have to be on site.
Yeah.
You have to be on site.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the companies can do the other. Their own strategy and execution. China market, especially in the consumer products, in the consumer needs, is evolving so fast.
Yeah. really is.
So fast.
Yeah.
The way to buy in e-commerce, all the platforms.
Live streaming
the
e-commerce.
live stream and the way to promote I mean, but at the end of the day, what is important is what you sell,
Yeah.
the quality you sell, and this is our company. They understand this.
Yeah.
They understand. In fact, they've been also in some way forced to, change their marketing strategy very quickly. But it's
Yeah.
good. It's
Yeah.
good for business.
Yeah, I think Chinese consumers definitely love Italian cuisine as well. There's a lot of Italian restaurants here in
Food and
Food and beverage.
Food and beverage.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to sell products nowadays because it's not the right.
Live stream e-commerce, huge potential.
But
Paolo, wait, China's a nation of foodies. Right?
Yeah.
We are a nation of food. We love food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and China is differentiated among all the regions, like Italy. How many kind of wines we had in all Italy, cheeses, olive oil. I mean,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. The important is the quality. So
Yeah.
Italy means quality. If you want to try good food and beverage, you know where to come.
I feel like, Samuel, you're going to have to make a pitch for Malaysian products as well. Look, speaking of quality,
I like satay.
you like
I like satay.
Who doesn't
Malaysian
love
satay.
satay? Who doesn't love
I like
Malaysian satay is the question. But Samuel, speaking of high quality agricultural products from Malaysia, I think it's very safe to say that Chinese consumers absolutely love Malaysian durian. So when you take a look at agricultural exports from Malaysia to China, what kind of potential do you see there? Let's sort of diversify in terms of agricultural products beyond just the durian, of course.
Yeah, Michael and Paula. As well as just mentioned the quality, Malaysia also surely we have a quality assurance on food as well. And in Malaysia, food security is also another issue for us to be more concerned. Back to agriculture first. Besides durian, we have lots of other products. Actually, I'm not sure if you're aware, bird nest actually is put under agriculture products from Malaysia because ours is under the house nest. Is a valid that has been bred from a house. So we have the most likely the China renew is about by coffee, the durian, as well as a bird nest. These are the few things. But above that, we need to have more concrete and more specific collaborations between Malaysia and China on agriculture, especially on some seedings, especially in the rice, vegetables, which Malaysia, we are having our paddies consumption is not enough. Locally, is not enough to produce. That's we have our few states, government of Malaysia as well. The few, the states that mean is like your province that are looking forward to have a further collaborations in agriculture with the China side to have the adapt some technology, especially the seeding, how we can have it to adapt and suitable to Malaysia to grow it. Beside the process of the seedings, we're also talking about the food hub. Malaysia also, we need to prepare for our food hub in terms of any war or any things happens in between, just like the Ukraine situations. Therefore, we need to have our seeds and then we have our feeding to be ready. This is all about the agriculture. That's why I think that we can push further in between of Malaysia and China government side to have more collaboration in future. In near future, I think it's supposed to be on building up our both countries' own food security as well as the food hub to provide between us. And for information, and then I think very near soon, we have some government, provincial governments leaders to be in Malaysia. And one of the topics that we are going to talk with our Malaysia's agriculture minister, the provincial leaders will talk about the agriculture's collaborations. And beside that, how we can benefit from the China technologies in the agriculture industry in Malaysia. I give a very specific example. Last 2 weeks, I was in the Kelantan, actually. So in the paddy fields of 40 acres land, the farmer itself has told us that he just learned to manage the farms of 40 acres for the paddy field by using the China brand drone. He also adapting the drone. This is a very rural area. This is a rural area which is have the connectivity future through the ECRL. Then the farmer, the persons towards that already start adopting drone technology into his farming. This is like the real examples how they use the China brands technology to be agriculture's industry, to be used in the agriculture industry.
Okay. So China's agriculture technology and perhaps even seed technology, there's a lot of cooperation potential there because you mentioned food security. Food security is a top policy priority for Chinese policymakers every single year because this country has to feed the world's largest population with less relative arable land compared to, say, the fields of Europe, the fields of North America and South America and Africa as well. So I think China, by necessity, has to develop these technologies, for example, seed technology, higher yields and less area to feed its own population, and hopefully China can share more of that technology with especially developing countries as well. Samuel, I want to get your take on digital cooperation between China and Malaysia, because last year at the Malaysia-China Digital Economy Forum, which is organized actually by the MCBC, one area that MCBC has identified in terms of untapped economic potential is the digital economy. What kind of cooperation do you see on that front between China and Malaysia?
All right. Thanks for your attention to our program last year as well. And then that was a first one that we did offline after the post-pandemic situation. So firstly, that enhanced digital collaborations can increase the trade between Malaysia and China, especially with the digital technology. Businesses of both countries can now easily connect and trade without any physical presence. And this also can help us to reduce the trade barriers as well as the efficiency increase and expand our market easily for both of us. So secondly, and during that program, what we would like to create is a new business opportunity. And with the digital collaboration between the Malaysia local company as well as the China's technologies company, that both can leverage each other's strengths on different area and collaborate further to enhance and increase our innovative as well as our productivity. Malaysia and China, mostly we have need to admit that China is ahead of Malaysia's in terms of digital economy. So this is a digital technology that we need to have further enhancement and to patch up from the China side. Especially now we have all kind of social medias. We have the social media shop that we can have the sellings without borders. And then these all kind of economics, the digital nomad digital economy as well, is something that Malaysia is looking forward to improve and to learn from China as well. Therefore, the digital collaborations, we hope can reduce our manual labor as well as lower our costs for the benefits of the competitive price as well. Yeah, Michael?
Yeah. And I feel the digital economy can definitely help small and medium enterprises in Malaysia and Italy, for example, as well. When it comes to, for example, RCEP, right? This is the world's largest free trade agreement, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. It's in effect now, of course, in the region. Will that help to support digital economy cooperation between Malaysia and China going forward, especially, I guess, when it comes to cross-border e-commerce? I think there's huge potential on that front, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is definitely, it will be a great lapse for us to go for because the RCEP, as everyone knew, that is a free trade agreement that signed in 2020 November. So Malaysia and China is part of it. So for Malaysia, the RCEP agreements offer several benefits. And firstly, it will be improve our market access to China massive consumer market, as well as provide Malaysian businesses with a greater opportunities to expand their exports. And secondly, it will help Malaysia to diversify our export markets and reduce the reliance on the traditional market. While it also will enhance the collaboration between the areas such as, just as we mentioned, the e-commerce. We help as well as the technology transfer and investment that can help Malaysian market to innovate and become more competitive in the global market as well. Meanwhile, for China, the RCEP agreement, on my opinion, that it also will provide significant benefits in which it will enable the Chinese businesses to gain a better access to Malaysian market, which is strategically located in the heart of Southeast Asia. And additionally, it will enhance China's economy in the regions, which is crucial for a long-term strategic interest. Therefore, in conclusion about the RCEP, I think that it will be a game changer for Malaysia and as well as for China's economic partnership, that we will further deepen our economic ties between the two countries and unlock the opportunities between the region as well.
Got it. Paolo, what about China and Italy? Chinese companies and Italy, Italian companies perhaps coming closer together when it comes to the digital economy as well. When I was taking a look at some live streaming e-commerce here in China, I've actually seen quite a few number of Italian brands or perhaps Italian farmers also selling directly to the China market.
Sure. This is definitely a new way to approach the consumer. Very sophisticated sometimes. Okay, so you have to be to know the technology behind. Otherwise, you could have some maybe surprises. Okay, but I think now Italian companies, especially in the fields of lifestyle, food and beverage, and fashion, definitely, but not only, are all very well involved in this way to sell e-commerce. Talking about the consumers' goods and the high level of quality, I want to mention a Hainan Expo exhibition, if you want.
I was just going to ask you about that because we have time for that one final question.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
No, we are very honored to be has been appointed as a guest country of honor. In the next Hainan exhibition, Consumer Expo, that will take place in Haikou in April 10th till 15th. Okay, Italy will have an important presence with also booths managed by the Italian Chamber of Commerce, embassy, each brands, and there will be the right moment also to present what does it mean lifestyle, what does it mean quality, and so I think it will be a good moment, a good, let's say, stage for our value proposition.
About how many Italian companies are slated to attend the?
Well, we are in the process, but many, okay. Because we will have also two different areas. One is more digital with videos of high level of brands that are not that are in China, but they're showing through video. We have a QR code, and then we'll have booths of brands, medium, small, big. I mean, there will be, of course, Ferrari, Piaggio, Vespa, of course, showing. Will be a good moment to taste and feel what does it mean Italian quality lifestyle.
Okay.
Yes.
So looking forward to Italy at the China International Consumer Products Expo.
Thank you.
In Hainan.
Thank you.
And with that, we're going to leave it there. Paolo, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Michael. Very well. Thank you to all the people listening and for this opportunity to talk about our business industry and my country and how we can better do business in this important country that is China.
So many areas of further cooperation between Chinese companies and Italian companies here in the China market. Paolo, thank you again. Paolo Bazzoni, who is the chairman of the China-Italy Chamber of Commerce, who is also a board member of Assocamarestro and a board member at Bonfiglioli, China. Paolo, thank you.
Thank you. 谢谢.
And of course, the sky is the limit as well for economic relations between China and Malaysia. Our thanks also to Samuel Lee, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Malaysia-China Business Council. Samuel, thank you so much for taking your time to chat with us today.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Okay. And that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Biz Talk here on CGTN. I'm Michael Wang here in Beijing. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time.